Fine, I'll tell you, but hit that subscribe button first. None of these tips and tricks will ever work if you don't use this tip, and I'm sharing it at the end of the video. Baking tip number 1, get a weighing scale. Okay, we all know and love cups. It's quick and easy, but if you want to become a better baker and a more precise baker, this isn't necessary. $280 on Amazon, that's it. I'll leave a link below. Not sponsored, I'm not making any money off of this. I should, but I'm not. 1 cup of all-purpose flour is 130 grams, but if you normally measure it with a cup, it comes out to be 145 grams. These 15 grams can be the difference between a good bake and a perfect bake. How many times have you heard a cook say or a baker say, preheat the oven for 10 minutes? And sometimes 10 minutes is enough to preheat the oven. But if your oven is old, like mine, 10 minutes won't be enough. And that perfect preheated oven is the difference between a good bake and a perfect bake. This oven thermometer can go up to 600 degrees Fahrenheit or 300 degrees Celsius. The metal and the glass are heat proof, so you don't have to worry about it breaking or cracking. This little thing can even tell you if your oven temperatures are calibrated correctly or if it's completely off the mark. This next one is know your oven. Every OTG or oven toaster grills has 2 rods, 2 upper rods and 2 lower rods. And it is essential that you know when to use which rod. Once you've calibrated your oven temperatures using the oven thermometer, you can use this knob on your oven to know which rod you need to use for which bake. Tips and tricks that you can do to make sure that your bakes are evenly cooked. Sometimes your oven can have hot spots, which means it can have slightly different temperatures in different corners of the oven. So to get an even rise in browning, make sure you rotate the pan halfway through the bake time. One mistake I've seen a lot of people make while they're baking is not knowing when to use a whisk and when to use a spatula. A whisk can be used for multiple things, like making sure your dry ingredients are mixed properly. If you're using oil-based cakes, then making sure that the wet ingredients are combined properly and are homogeneous. Mixing the dry and wet ingredients with a whisk can really lead to gluten development and can result in a dense bake. If you want to make a dense fudgy brownie, using a whisk to mix the wet and dry ingredients can be really helpful. If you're making something light and airy and fluffy like a cake or a cupcake and you've incorporated a lot of air into the wet ingredients by whisking it, you don't want to deflate that aeration that you've incorporated while adding the dry ingredients. So to mix the wet and dry ingredients for a fluffy cake, use a spatula and use gentle cut and fold method. This tip is optional because it does cost a little bit more money. It's getting an electric whisk. It comes with these 2 attachments. This attachment will make your life a lot easier. You can whip cream, make egg white meringues, or even use it for buttercreams. And especially if you're making butter-based cakes or cupcakes, this can really come in handy when you want to cream your butter and sugars. If you want to get into bread making, it's a lifesaver. And my best baking tip, just start baking. If you don't have an oven, use a convection microwave. If you don't have a convection microwave, use a gas stove and a cooker. There are n number of tips on the internet where you can bake cakes and other things using your gas and your cooker. Do a lot of research. Research YouTube, Instagram, buy cookbooks if you can afford it. Make no-bake recipes. I have a lot of no-bake recipes on my Instagram, which is linked down below. Start with cheap ingredients. I just started using expensive ingredients like good quality chocolate. And if you have any questions, any queries, any problems regarding anything, you can reach out to me. Comment your questions, comment your bake fails. I'll tell you what went wrong if I can. You can reach out to me on Instagram. Go bake, go cook, go try. Peace.